In a saturated digital landscape, the central challenge for any modern brand is capturing and sustaining user attention. For the past 2 decades, developers have relied on a single established playbook to solve this problem: traditional web design. This approach relies on rigid, grid-based layouts and highly structured user experience pathways to deliver information. The psychological strategy here is minimizing your cognitive load. By relying on universally familiar models, like a standard shopping cart icon, traditional sites let you navigate intuitively. This system is built for transactional velocity. Brands trade away memorable emotional engagement to guarantee immediate, frictionless conversions. A new design movement is now challenging these sterile digital environments: biophilic web design. This design ethos is rooted in the biophilia hypothesis, the scientifically recognized innate human tendency to seek connections with nature. The late biologist Edward O. Wilson popularized a theory that our psychological and physiological health actively depends on this biological connection to the natural world. This sets up a sharp contrast in methodologies. On one side, the proven functional clarity of traditional design. On the other, the stress-reducing sensory richness of biophilic design. Brands face a distinct choice. Do you rely on sterile grid layouts to guarantee quick sales, or invest in nature-inspired interfaces to build long-term brand loyalty? This choice dictates whether a user treats your website as a disposable vending machine or a lasting destination. To see exactly how traditional web architecture forces user behavior, we have to break down its input-to-outcome mechanics. This structural wireframe illustrates the baseline. Strict grid layouts and clear hierarchical navigation predictably organize massive amounts of information. Prominent call-to-action funnels then actively push the user down a constrained path toward a single, measurable outcome, like making a purchase. Because developers prioritize fast loading speeds, they actively strip away complex visual elements that might cause friction or lag. This stripped-down approach is unrivaled for transactional efficiency. However, it creates an impersonal environment where users complete their task and immediately leave. Biophilic design is a strategic psychological framework. Simply adding a picture of a plant to a web page doesn't achieve the physiological benefits the methodology promises. The first principle is the direct experience of nature. Incorporating organic motion, like the subtle rippling of water, creates a sense of digital vitality. Next is the indirect experience of nature. Designers replace rigid, linear layouts with earthy color palettes and organic fractal patterns that mimic biological structures, like tree branches or seashells. The most complex application deals with the spatial qualities of the digital environment, utilizing a psychological concept known as prospect and refuge. Prospect refers to open, airy layouts, while refuge provides cozy, focused content sections. Balancing the two gives the user a sense of safety and encourages exploration. These visual inputs actively influence the user's nervous system. They reduce digital fatigue, replacing the urge to bounce with a desire to explore the site. When we test these differing inputs against each other, we can measure their direct impact on user response metrics. This comparison matrix shows the breakdown. Looking at user engagement, traditional design yields shorter, task-oriented sessions. Biophilic design significantly increases measurable dwell time. Measuring emotional impact, traditional layouts risk overwhelming the user with sterile, dense data. Biophilic integration actively improves focus and digital well-being. On brand perception, traditional design communicates baseline professionalism. A biophilic approach cultivates an identity that users perceive as innovative, human-centric, and premium. There is a critical accessibility trade-off. Biophilic aesthetics must still rigorously adhere to the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, or WCAG, ensuring sufficient text contrast over rich natural imagery. The trade-off for increased brand loyalty and dwell time is the necessity for a highly disciplined, complex user experience development process. The choice between these methodologies depends entirely on aligning your framework with the primary goal of your audience. This quadrant chart maps out the sectors. Massive e-commerce and news portals belong in the transactional, high-density corner, sticking to utilitarian grids where friction harms conversions. Conversely, wellness and travel sectors sit in the relational, low-density corner, benefiting from the emotional resonance of organic layouts. Marketers often worry that aesthetic design hurts search engine optimization. However, the increased dwell time generated by a biophilic interface serves as a positive ranking signal to search algorithms. Deploying the wrong framework for your industry, like forcing a slow, exploratory interface onto a rapid checkout e-commerce store, will actively harm your bottom line, regardless of how beautiful it is. The most sophisticated digital strategy moving forward is not a binary choice, it is a hybrid approach. This synthesis utilizes the proven, structured wireframes of traditional design to satisfy strict usability requirements, while layering biophilic textures, lighting, and pacing over the top. The outcome is a model that retains the user's attention with beauty, but securely converts them with frictionless usability. As the internet evolves into a more humanistic space, the most successful brands will build technology that serves our immediate functional needs, while respecting our innate biological desire for connection.